The way we start is say, how do I feel about myself? Not how I want to be. How do I feel about myself? How am I in the world in each of those categories? The idea of meditation is not to control your mind. It's to not let your mind control you.
You got so many golden nuggets throughout this whole interview. If you want to achieve your goals this year, then learning to stay focused is the only way. We often try to achieve too many things at the same time instead of focusing on the one that matters. But how do we actually know which goal or area to focus on first? Hi, it's Snippet, and in this video, you will learn from my guest, Dennis Berry, a life mastery coach, on how to remove things that can sabotage you, deciding what to focus on and what to do to stay focused on your goals. Dennis Berry has been helping people worldwide for over 15 years, and he's able to turn to his own life around from an alcoholic to being sober for 18 years and became a successful businessman, athlete, and family man. Dennis knows what it's like to be helpless and hopeless with no positive direction. He was able to climb out of the gutter and transform his life, and he spends his life now helping others to do the same. Hey Dennis, how are you today?
I'm awesome, Lynn. So nice to see you again. I love when we get to talk.
I know you were in the Kind Boss podcast previously last year, and I think I was on your podcast and then you on my podcast, but hey, we really even developed a personal friendship, which I really love. And what I also love is that we have this kind of the same desire and goals in life. We really want to help people. And I remember we were talking about getting out of addiction, but now today, I think what's really interesting is that I want to talk about now, okay, imagine you got rid of all your bad stuff, but how do you actually move forward with your performance, achieving your goals? And you mentioned to me that you're really loving the whole focus, the word focus. So let's talk more about your meaning behind having the one focus to achieving your goals.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, focus is really central to everything because we're so distracted. You said, all right, let's take all the bad things away, like the addictions and stuff like that. But we don't know how deep that those go. Maybe I drink too much. Maybe that's causing a problem. We'll take that away. And then there's all these cross addictions. I'm not going to drink, but I'm going to get stoned, or I'm going to watch 6 hours of Netflix, or I'm going to watch porn, or eat 2 pounds of chocolate every day. Or it's all the same thing because we're so unfocused, right? And work is another addiction. Codependency, your partner, spending time with your partner, too much time or all your time or whatever it is, making money. Those are all things, but we lose focus on what it is we're doing. And a lot of times, and this is central to what I do, it's because we're trying to do way too many things at the same time. And so I like to focus on the one thing and just focus on one thing and doing it well. And I don't remember if we talked about the one thing that I like to compare it to is our New Year's resolutions. So every New Year's, it's I have these 5 things. I'm going to lose weight, stop drinking, write a book, improve my relationship, all these things. I mean, those are all big goals. And in 2 weeks, you're overwhelmed because there's just too much stuff going on. And so you're screw this. I'm going to go get drunk and eat a pound of chocolate and my relationship sucks and all these things. So it's because we're trying to do too many things at once. And people are I'm a great multitasker. None of us are really great multitaskers. Some people might be able to manage some things better, but if you want to really perform and achieve at a high level, we really need to get laser focused on one thing, choose the one goal. And then we have ways of defining what that one goal is. And then we work only on that one major goal. I mean, take care of your responsibilities in life, pay your bills, do exercise, meditate, do some good things. But we want to focus on one major goal at a time. And it's usually the one that you've been putting off the longest and that you're been procrastinating on or whatever. And that's the one that's going to change your life the most. And then we create specific plan of action and specific steps of action to get us there towards our goal.
Okay, so then how do you prioritize what goal to go? So let's just say personal goals sometimes feels like it's so important as well as the goal in your career or starting a business. And so then, what is your process on being able to help us go, okay, which goal to choose and how long do we stick to that goal for? And let's go in depth of imagine you're taking me through, your client right now, right? I need help with achieving my goal. So what would be your first question to me?
Right, that's a great question. And we always start with all my clients, the same thing. Now, usually like if somebody comes in and I'm working with somebody who's like life's falling apart because they need to stop drinking, that's pretty clear. We need to probably stop drinking and we'll start working on that. But the process I usually use is we really want to take a deep look into ourselves, a deep dive into ourselves in the following categories. And these are pretty much encompass life. Right? Life pretty much has the same 6 or 7 categories. And they are, how do I feel about my body, my health of my body, my family relationships, my friend relationships, my romantic relationships, my sex and stuff like that. How's my career? How are my finances? And then how's my spiritual life? Those things pretty much encompass life. So the way we start is say, how do I feel about myself? Not how I want to be. How do I feel about myself? How am I in the world in each of those categories? And write that down. We can't think about it. We have to write it down. So my body's like this, and my health is messed up, or whatever it is. My relationship sucks, all these things. So we go through those categories, write down how we are in the world in those categories. And then when we're done there, we go back into each category again and say, how do I want to be in each of those categories? So my body's like this, I want it to be like this. My health is like this. My relationship is like this, I want it to be like this. My money is like this, I want it to be like this. And so now we have goals. You see, so we just created our own goals. And then we'll go down that list and be like, which one is going to radically transform our lives the most? And we start working on that one. And then we create specific steps to take on a daily basis to help get us there.
Yeah. And so is it important to kind of focus on the goals that are negative goals first? So let's just say I want to focus on my body, and the negative goal is that I have to stop drinking, let's say, right? You have to eat well, you have to exercise, but there is probably something underlying that is really damaging my health. Like I'm drinking every night and that affects my productivity or whatever. So would you say to get rid of that bad one first, even though your goal is to the goal is to exercise, but then within that there is sub goals or sub habits that you need to get rid of?
Yeah, that's another great question. You're the best. I love talking with you. You're such a great interviewer, and you really pay attention, and it's a great awareness you have too. Great question. It's like sometimes our goal could be like financial goal or something that's glaring and clear to look at. Something that's simple to say, oh, well, I need to lose 30 pounds. Oh, I need to make $20,000, right? Whatever it is, those are simple. Sometimes it's an emotional goal. Sometimes it's like, I need to forgive my father for sexually abusing me or something like that. I mean, those can go really deep. So sometimes, and I'll tell a quick story. So I had this client, and I still work with her sometimes, but we started working together maybe it was like 5 years ago or so. Early 40s, mom, and she was like 30, 40 pounds overweight. And she was drinking like a couple bottles of wine every night, getting drunk, and then she would eat a bunch of crap when that happened. And she would get in a fight with her husband, and the kids were starting to do bad at school. And she came to me and she's like, I need to stop drinking. And so we started there. We're like, okay. And then shortly thereafter, it was a couple meetings, couple sessions afterwards, we started talking, and it turns out that when she was like 13 years old, she was sexually assaulted at camp, at a sleepaway camp. And so she was like 13, he was 15. She wanted to stop. They were kissing. It was her first kiss. It wasn't his, but she wanted to stop and he didn't. And he kept pushing and she was violated. Now, 30 years ago, we didn't talk about stuff like that. So she buried it deep down inside, never told anybody about it. But you can only do that for so long. So that was a deep emotional scar that she had, a wound that she's been carrying around for 3 decades. And it just like got to this point where her life was just falling apart, because we didn't address that and really take a deep dive into it and like find ways to release that and forgive that person and to move beyond it and live present and not in the past and stuff like that. And so what happened was we started working on that, and she just stopped drinking.
Wow.
Yeah, she stopped drinking, and as a result, she stopped eating crap. She lost 30 pounds. Her relationship's better than it ever was. Her kids are doing great, and her skin even cleared up. Like she even looked younger. So, I mean, it was because we addressed a goal, or we addressed a problem, something that happened 30 years ago that was affecting her on such a deep level today. And so many of us have things like that we carry around, these deep emotional scars that happened decades ago that we don't even remember, that we blanked out, and then we continue to blank out, and it affects our success, our health, our relationships, every area of our lives.
Totally. And that is why I love working with coaches, because it's the only time that you get to deep dive into your life, and it's all about you. And sometimes people are way too focused on the surface, like, how do I do this? It's all in the surface, and then it's the underlying that is like the most crucial. And it's so liberating when you find that, because you don't know even what is causing you to do certain things. Now, my biggest question is all around, like, how do you maintain your goal? Meaning, like, the New Year's resolution, you get really excited and you're like, yeah. And usually the first week or two, it's like easy. And then all of a sudden your why kind of goes, or that motivation kind of dies. Like, how can you improve that?
Another great question. A big piece of it. I had this kid ask me recently, he knew what I did. I saw him at the gym a lot. And he's like, Dennis, if you had an advice for young kids just starting out, he was in the early 20s, just had 2 babies or something. And what would that be? And I said, continue to ask questions. Stay teachable. Don't lose your sense of wonder, right? It's like, we were originally going to talk about mindfulness. So when we talk about mindfulness, it's like the foundations of mindfulness is having a beginner's mind. Always stay curious, always ask questions. And the mind of an expert, there's no room to learn or grow because you already know everything. If I come into every situation with a beginner's mind, the possibilities are endless. It's infinite. The world is this big, huge, open wonder that we can explore. And so one is we want to continue to grow all the time, continue to stay teachable. There's days here when you wake up and you're not going to want to, because it's exhausting to grow and to change and to achieve your goals. But it takes continued effort. And the other piece is an accountability partner, like a coach, having people in your life. So I was taught, and I think we spoke about this probably last year, but have an expert in every area of your life. And it's like, I don't know everything. And when I think I do, then I get stuck and wonder why everybody else is doing okay and I'm stuck. So if I have to go to court, I need a lawyer. If I get sick, I need a doctor. If I'm having problems achieving my goals, I need a coach. I need a mentor. Somebody. It doesn't have to be me or even a coach. It could be a psychologist. It could be a friend, somebody that you respect. Just say, hey, let's go have lunch and talk about this. But having the accountability is such a huge factor that in order to stay motivated to reach towards your goals. Now, another thing, and I was just talking with a client earlier, and he gets very frustrated because he's waiting for, like, I have a question, I want the answer, and for my life to change tomorrow. Right. And that's what he wants. And he gets frustrated. And we've been hanging out for over a year and he pays me and everything. And it's always the same thing. When you see Jeff Bezos, he didn't just turn, Amazon isn't what it is now. And it didn't just happen last week. He's been doing this for 25 years. Yeah. So it started out as selling used books. And now it's like he changed the way the world gets things.
Ready to go on to space, he's on.
It started small, and it started with a small idea, and then along the way, it's like he throws money at things. He's like, let's experiment with this, and that's $100 million. And then after a few months or a year, that didn't work. Let's throw that away and let's try this now. And that one works. Now he made $1 billion. We see people at the top of their game, but we didn't see what it took to get there. It takes consistency, effort, and strategy, and focus, and help from outside people. All these people, they don't just have one coach or mentor or accountability partner, they have teams of people. So that's what I say to answer your question. Surround yourself with success. You're going to become successful. Stay teachable and keep pushing forward.
Yeah, that is such a good point, because just the other day I sent to my friend this new program, this money mindset program, because one of my guests, he's a rabbi, and I always really deep diving into spirituality, and he teaches about money as well. And so I said to my friend, hey, buy this thing, and because I just thought I'm going to do this course. And she's like, I thought you already achieved it. So she's thinking, why do you need to do a money course when she thinks I have money? And I go, there's always more to make, it's not like you're greedy. It's just, you feel like, what else is there to learn to kind of fine tune your game, right?
Well, how can you improve?
Yeah.
You can always improve.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's not, I'm changing my goal. It's not, I've arrived or any of that stuff. It's just how can we get better? How can we improve?
Yeah. And even, because sometimes I do go to myself, why am I so ambitious and wanting so many goals? But I also feel like the process of achieving goals helps you to become a better person. The new tools you learn, the new knowledge that you gain just because you set another goal or try to improve. Would you say that?
Yeah, absolutely. It gives you confidence, to step into your next project or to step into your next circumstances or your next conversation or to step better into your relationship or whatever it is. It's just like success breeds success. Like you become successful here and then you have desire to continue to grow and your life unfolds in beautiful ways.
Yeah. And I think that over the years, you build the muscle of being able to stay persistent and achieve too. Because I remember 10 years ago, I think I failed a lot more. Like you start, you stop, you start. Like it's just really hard to attain any goal. And then over time, you just got better at it. Would you say it's something that is like a muscle memory or a practice that can make perfect?
I love that. Yeah. Because I have a strong background in addiction. One of the big problems is that with addiction, there's like that instant gratification. So I'm going to take this drink and I know in a minute or two, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to get stoned. I'm going to smoke some weed. And in a minute or two, I'm going to feel better. Life isn't like that. I'm going to start this business and in a minute or two, I'm going to have $1 million. That's not how it works, right? So what happens with addiction is like the reason you see a lot of failure or people relapsing or however you want to term it is because they're not seeing instant gratification. They're not seeing instant results. They're not seeing their life turn around in 2 minutes when it took 30 years to screw up, right? So what we want is we want them to start seeing successes. So when you start seeing success, when you talk about what you were just saying, is like when I become successful, then I see that I can become successful. And then I can try this because I was successful here. Now I can try this and I'm going to become successful here. And then I can try this and try this. And it gives you confidence and your life becomes successful.
Yes. Hallelujah. I've known my husband for like 10 years and it took him the last 8 or 9 years before he even got into his fitness goal. He keeps telling me he's going to get to fitness and he finally listened because I was like, come on, I'm tired of your promises. Anyway, he basically tried it. And I was so amazed that it kind of rippled into other areas of life. He had more motivation for the relationship. He came home and he's just had more ideas. Whereas before, it's like there's a quote, how you do one thing is how you do everything. So if you're kind of flaky in this area, you're kind of flaky in every other area. And you change as a person in other ways than just the fitness. Have you come across like that?
Absolutely. Yeah. The body, mind, and spirit, our lives bleed into each other. I love what you said. When you're successful in one area, you're successful in every. Is that what you said?
How you do one thing is how you do everything. So it's somehow when it's like when I started decluttering my room, I started decluttering my computer. I just felt like decluttering things. And so his focus in fitness kind of gave him this other focus in other
Totally.
ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything's connected. And I really love that. Those are behavior patterns. And those go back to what I was saying earlier. It's 30 years of behavior. As human beings, we want the most out of life with the least amount of effort, right? So what happens is we find ways to become comfortable and then we stay there. And when we get stressed out or full of anxiety or whatever, fearful or whatever feelings that you're feeling, a lot of times what we find is that the world changed and I didn't change along with it. And so I need to find ways to continue to grow. And when I improve my fitness levels, I have more energy to do my business better and communicate better and be a better parent and just all around. So everything you're saying is exactly spot on. I love that.
Oh God, you got so many golden nuggets throughout this whole interview. My last question for you is around mindfulness, because we did mention about that. So sometimes people misunderstanding some meditation or so when it comes to goals, how do you become quite mindful in what you do?
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode, but I'm doing a whole video series right now on mindfulness and meditation. And it's such an integral piece to success. It really is because, and again, we could talk about this for hours. My mind is the source of all of my problems, my thinking. On average, we're having one thought every second that we're awake. And while we're asleep too, we have a lot of thoughts too. So if those were all awesome, useful thoughts, that would be really great, right? But most of them are useless or even harmful thoughts. So the idea of mindfulness and meditation is really just to calm our minds down. It's to calm us down so we can allow and eliminate some of those harmful thoughts, those harmful, useless thoughts, and allow for the good, healthy answers and solutions to come into our lives, into our minds. And the idea of meditation is not to control your mind, it's to not let your mind control you, right? So what we really want to do is, like, when I say things, we want to look at things like, how do we talk to ourselves about ourselves? I'm not good enough to make money. I'm not good enough for a relationship. My relationship sucks. These are all negative things we tell ourselves, and we start believing those thoughts that run through us. So I really want to be mindful about how I think about myself, what I say about myself, how I think about the people in my life, right? And what I say to the people in my life. And so being mindful means purposefully looking at yourself, purposefully looking at yourself, at your thoughts, at your life. And we do that through meditation. That's really where that comes from. And that's why we're like, why do I have to sit like that when I'm meditating? Because that puts us in an intentional state where we can intentionally take a look at ourselves inside and out. And not like when I'm driving and looking around. There are times for that. Like, absolutely do that. Like, be mindful of where you are, look at the architecture, look at the trees, enjoy your time driving. But when I sit quietly in meditation, I'm approaching everything I do with intention. And that's how we achieve at a high level. Whatever your goals are, when you approach it with intention, create specific action to get there with mindfully, we have a way better chance of getting there and enjoying the ride.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it so much. So how do people work with you, Dennis?
Yeah, you can pretty much get everything in my book, my podcast, book a free session on dennisberry.com, or just reach out and say hi, and I'd love to hear from you.
Love it. Well, I'll put all the links below so that the audience can grab it. But thank you so much again for your time. I so thoroughly enjoyed our session again together.
Me too. You're the best. I love you.
Thank you so much for watching, guys. Love to hear in the comments below, what is the most important goal you want to achieve this year? And if starting or growing your business is a goal you want to achieve, I'd love to invite you to join my mentoring program called Outsource Masters, where I teach you how you can build a 7-figure business from home like me. Now, if you want to discover more ways to achieve your goals, check out my next video here.